I mean, do you think he has an agenda for promoting India in the world? I mean, what do you think the wider kind of objective of this promotion of yoga is?
You see, India has been promoted very well in the world for generations. I mean, India is not an enigma to the world anymore. Yoga has been traveling to the West from almost the beginning of the 20th century. There were gurus, there were Western people who came here and learnt yoga and took it to the West and made it popular. The three major gurus, one amongst is Swami Shivananda. He was largely instrumental in promoting yoga in the West. You see, what we fail to realize that, of course, yoga is Indian and its roots are very Indian. By that extension, you could say that it is Hindu, and the Patanjali Yoga, it may have borrowed from other religions that were prevalent at that time, which is Buddhism and Jainism. But the way we do yoga today, you know, these set of exercises and then set of pranayama, this format of yoga actually has been promoted by a few gurus who got recognition in the West and made yoga very popular in the West. I don't remember my grandfather or father's generation really coming to a studio like this to do yoga. Nor they were going to the park to do these laughing club exercises. This model, this construct of yoga which we are practicing today, it has in some ways come from the West. So, to answer your question whether this will help promoting India to the world by Mr. Modi, I don't know what good it will do, because one thing we don't need to promote at all from India is mysticism and yoga. This has been attracting the West and the East for a long, long time. You see, so this certainly would deflect, I think, the attention away from the many crises the government is going through, to do some sort of a picnic day where everybody, willy-nilly, perforce, will have to, buy a mat and stretch it out and do yoga.
Do you think in a way part of the agenda is to reassert the Indianness of yoga because it's become such a Western phenomenon?
Well, if you're saying Indianness as Hinduness?
No, we'll come on to the whole Hindu question. I mean more, do you think he's seen that yoga is this great export of India's, but it's actually owned a lot by Westerners who practice yoga.
Right.
Most of the yoga teachers in the West are local people, they're not Indians. So in a way, it's been taken by the West and used in the West in a new kind of commercial way. Do you think this is an attempt by Modi to reassert the Indianness of yoga?
Well, I don't know whether it's needed to reassert Indianness, because even the gurus or the teachers, the Western teachers, or this whole market of yoga in the West, even if it is controlled by the Western people, it is done in a very Indian way. All big teachers, they are all telling you to live an Indian way of life, or say a Hindu way of life, be vegetarian, don't drink, don't smoke, this is very Indian. So, I mean, what are you going to push what are you going to assert? I mean, it's already there, you don't have to push it further. I mean, the greatness of India and India's philosophy and India's mystique and yoga and music is already very popular and celebrated. You don't have to make a further push to regain that. That is yours anyway.
There was all sorts of religious controversy around the Yoga Day, wasn't there? With people getting upset that really this is about Hindu nationalism. What do you say to that? I mean, yoga is a Hindu practice, isn't it?
Well, you see, India is a very noisy republic, and we have freedom of speech, which sometimes borderlines on free-for-all speech. So you hear voices from many quarters who are unhappy about yoga and it being Hindu. But I think, largely, whether it's, given the diverse, composition of our country, I don't think, the Muslims friends I have had, or Christian friends, or Sikh friends I've had, they don't have a big problem with yoga, or the Hindu-ness of the yoga. After all, it's a very syncretic physical form of exercise which takes some part of the Hindu ritual in its fold, for sure. You don't become Hindu if you do yoga. It's not a tool for proselytizing, you see. It's more like Christmas. Even if you're not Christian, you still are celebrating Christmas, aren't you? You don't have to put a say Christmas tree in your house just because you are celebrating Christmas. Similarly, yoga, that you don't have to be a great Hindu ascetic to do yoga. It is something that is sort of, at the end of the day, is meant for your well-being, your physical well-being. And if you are on that path, you are on the path of spiritualism, which is not being religious. Ultimately, why are we doing yoga? Yoga is making your body physically strong enough to sit and meditate for a long period of time. And you reach a stage where you find the Brahma in the Hindu philosophy, who's formless, you see. So that is the reason why you are doing yoga. But everybody need not do that, you see. You do yoga to keep fit, to keep healthy, to lead a comfortable life. You need not be on a spiritual journey just because if you're doing yoga. If you are going on a spiritual journey, all the more better.
But there is, part of the controversy was around this idea that here you've got this, it's being promoted as an essentially Indian practice, and you've got, for example, the Om chant, which is a Hindu chant. You've got sun salutations, which some Muslims say was, they couldn't perform because you can only worship Allah, you cannot worship another god, you can't worship the sun.
Right.
What do you say to those kind of criticisms?
You see, these criticisms from the Muslim groups also were only a faction. There were some Muslim leaders who went and did yoga with Baba Ramdev the other day. Some others have also said they don't have problems. In fact, Madni has said that there is no problem of doing yoga. As I said, this is a very noisy republic. People have opinions and we have to respect them. Of course, if somebody doesn't want to do yoga, let them not do it. Let them not do it. Do Tai Chi or something else.
Is there something useful in yoga about focusing in on yourself, finding peace? What benefits can yoga bring psychologically, do you think?
You see, the basic principle of yoga is to slow down your system. Now, in order to slow down the system, the principle is you slow down your breathing. The longer you take time to breathe, you are settling your system. So in yoga, we say you spend twice as much as time in exhalation than inhaling. Because when you are exhaling, your body is at the most, the state of maximum relaxation. That's why, it's so much importance has been given to the breathing part of yoga. And then when you do the asanas or various exercises, keeping the breathing part in mind, it is beneficial. Many other exercises, physical exercises like aerobics and other, they sort of make your body very strong, your muscle bulge. Yoga may not give you that sort of a, bulgy body, but what it does is that it exercises many vital organs in your body from inside. This is the belief. Now, there are no sort of, I don't know if there is a medical sort of journal available to prove this. Most of the benefits of yoga you hear from people's personal experiences. I could tell you how I medically, gained from yoga. I had this problem of thyroid. and I had to take medicine, which the doctors told me it's like a food to me, that medicine, Altroxin it was called. And then I started, at some point I had started doing yoga, this is about 12, 13 years ago. And we do this shoulder stand, which I sort of demonstrated, where the body weight actually comes and presses your thyroid glands here. So I was doing that, and then for some other reason, 2-3 years later, I had gone to get a general checkup done with my things, and the doctor asked me what medicines you're having, and I showed him this is the medicine I have. The only medicine is the sodium for my thyroid. But he said, but why are you having it? You don't have it anymore. You sort of discontinue this thyroid medicine you're having, and I don't use it anymore. And I guess I would credit, there's no sort of medical evidence to prove that when I was doing shoulder stand. If you do an MRI of my body, what it is doing, I don't know. But I could experience the benefit of yoga. Similarly, you hear a lot of people saying that they got cured of this, that, or the other. It sort of helps your mental peace. But then again, many gurus, for instance, Baba Ramdev, he claims that he can cure AIDS and cancer by yoga. I mean, that I find a little difficult to believe. How could that be possible? But yeah, I mean, it is good for you.
Tell me, how does it feel when you do yoga? How do you feel? Try and describe what the sensation of doing yoga, how you feel while you're doing yoga.
Of course, it relaxes your body. It makes your body feel very strong. Your postures are better. In a day-to-day life, like sitting in front of a computer and working for many hours, or taking a long flight, where you strain your spine or back muscles too much. If you do yoga, these day-to-day lifestyle things, you're going to begin to feel a difference. When I take a 14-hour flight to New York, my back is not hurting as much as it used to when I was, say, 30. I'm 50 now, and I feel far more stronger than I was when I was 30. And I sort of credit yoga totally for this. I work for many hours in front of computer because I am a graphic designer also, and I design the cover of magazine every week, which sort of makes me sit in front of my Mac for many hours. But these days I'm fine. I mean, it doesn't sort of bother me at all. I mean, these are immediate benefits of the physical aspect of yoga that benefits me. In terms of how one feels in the mind, during yoga you're also calming your mind, you're settling your mind, you're focusing your mind on your body or your breath. So there is a calming influence to your brains, and for that period of time you do yoga for, depends, 60 minutes or 90 minutes, you can relax your brain and focus at one point, and that during the day or through the day you feel it, that there is a difference. You're feeling, you're not losing your temper as much, you're not shouting at your kids that much. So I mean, these are benefits, surely.